It's two shows in one, the Superhero Comic-Con and Cars Show, August 4th through the 7th, in San Antonio at the Freeman Expo Hall, presented by Thomas J. Henry. It's a Comic-Con with stars like Ewan McGregor, Haley Atwell, Simu Liu, Giancarlo Esposito, wrestling superstar Hulk Hogan, Arrow's Stephen Amell, Dave Bautista, and many more. Plus a massive Hollywood car show with 45 awesome cars like Batmobiles and Transformers Optimus Prime. Tickets available at pmxevents.com.
Pickle, let's go to the hotline. And let's bring in sports director of KLBK down there in Lubbock, or out there in Lubbock, I should say, Miss Arielle Schafer. Arielle, how you doing, girl?
Hey, good. How are you guys? Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. We were super excited for this segment because we knew exactly who we were going to bring in. Before we start talking about all the nitty-gritty football talk, we always like to learn a little bit more about our guests that we have here on Women Talking Football. So kind of give us your elevator pitch. Who are you and how did you get out there in Lubbock, Texas?
Well, it's actually a really funny story. I'm actually originally from New Jersey, so this Texas football environment is very new to me. I mean, we have football up in New Jersey, but it's nothing like Texas high school football. So originally from New Jersey, I went to the University of Alabama. I was a student athlete there. I was a rower there for 5 years, did the whole D1 athlete stuff. And, you know, when I was in my grad school year and I was applying for those jobs, Lubbock came on my radar, and my news director, you know, I did the whole interview process and just came here originally as a weekend sports reporter and anchor. And then 3 months in, I got promoted to sports director. So that's my elevator pitch. Super blessed to be here. And the South Blades has treated me so well. Definitely the kindest people I've ever met. And I think something that's super funny is that everyone here addresses you as sir or ma'am. That's not a thing in New Jersey. So I thought I really thought that was like, took me for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, are they calling me old? But they were. It's just like Southern hospitality. So that's kind of my elevator pitch and how I got here.
Absolutely. Now, you said you're from New Jersey. So when you got here and you found out you were going to be working in the South Plains Lubbock region and seeing that there are 26 six-man teams, what did you think of six-man football when you were first introduced to it?
Oh my goodness. Well, I did not know what to expect. I was like, my first show up to my first, and this probably may sound very dumb, but I showed up to my first six-man football game. I was like, wait, oh my gosh, there must be so many injuries. Like, there's not that many people on the field. Like, oh no, that's like, these kids are complete athletes. But it is so fast paced and it's so enjoyable. And the kids are just super freaks of athletes. Like, you see these huge kids that are super like muscular. And you're like, what are they feeding these kids down here in Texas? Like, these kids are complete athletes. So it's been fun. And those games go by very quick. And like, before you know it, they're over and you're like, oh my gosh, like this went by really fast, but they're super fun. And we're super blessed to have such great six-man teams here. And all the coaches are just super sweet. And like I said, the kids are one heck of athletes and they're just so athletic, being able to play both sides of the ball. And it was really enjoyable, really cool experience, but I love going out to six-man football.
And we'll get to a couple of those six-man teams here in a second. But I do want to ask you being in the Lubbock area, of course, Texas Tech football is huge right now with Joey McGuire out there as the head coach of those Red Raiders. How has the culture changed in Lubbock in terms of football since he took over at the helm?
Yeah, well, it's hard to describe Joey McGuire in one word. He is an absolute treat and super blessed to be able to have a coach like him come in. And I think the one thing I can think about with this culture change that he's brought here is you think of Texas when you think of Coach McGuire, you think of Texan, and that also goes down to his staff. Like, there was this crazy stat that they put on Fox Sports during the one game that more than half of his coaching staff was either a head coach or a major part of a West Texas or Texas high school football program. So when you think of that, you think of Joey McGuire and his staff as complete Texans. You know, they have the West Texas toughness, that pump jack mentality. He has a lot of phrases of what's next mentality. Like, every time we go into a press conference, he has so many different slogans which we all love. And just to see how much he cares about Texas football is what gets the community excited around here. Every time I go out to interview a high school coach, we always ask about like, hey, like, how cool is it to be lining up on Friday nights and see high school football in its purest form? And they always mention Coach McGuire with the what's next mentality and the West Texas toughness, how they're going to be the hardest, most competitive working team in the country. And the high school coaches are catching on. And also one thing that's really cool about Coach McGuire is that he lets these high school coaches come out and see their practices, where he'll go out and have these coaching clinics. He's just so hands-on with them, the high school kids, if it's from the youth level, PB level. Like, you just see it's a very exciting time here in Lubbock, which makes the game so much more, I guess, like, it's always been enjoyable, but it gives you that, like, goosebumps, you know, when you think about someone who just really cares about Texas and also has, like, been a good demonstration, especially for me coming from New Jersey, seeing how pure Texas high school football is, and also Texas football for no matter what level it is.
Love the word pure there. I could not agree more. Let's dive on into the pureness of high school football here. And when you take a look at the South Plains region as a whole, there's a ton of storylines happening out there right now. But if you were talking to someone else in the state of Texas and they brought up the South Plains and it's like, okay, what's the one big storyline kind of out there in that region right now? What would you say it is?
I was thinking hard about this because we have so many good teams, bottom up, top down, like that either are going to win a district title, regional title, make a run at state, or there's teams that are building on that culture. And we have a lot of rock star coaches here in the 806. And that's what I would say. I don't mean like rock star coaches of like them just leading their teams to victory. I mean rock star coaches, how they're going out in the community and making a difference within their kids on and off the field. One of the first people I think about when I think about this storyline is over at Estacado High School, William Blaylock. You know, he's had that high school football experience. He's also played too, and what he's doing out on the east side is absolutely incredible. Like I was talking to him actually about an hour ago because we had the Lubbock ISD football luncheon, and what he's doing is it's called their Super Success Drive. So he cleared out part of their warehouse, and we have people coming all over from Lubbock donating suits for his kids to be prepared for those academic scholarship interviews, you know, job interviews, those, just really having them, really caring about them too, and just changing the culture and getting them to believe in the pride. Because when you think about over on the east side in Lubbock, that is a very rich culture and with a lot of football tradition. You think about Dunbar, you think about all those schools too. And I think that's really cool how he's really teaching these kids their history and also giving them something to believe in too. And also when you think about that too, you think about Lubbock High, Juan Rodriguez, you know, Lubbock High over the past couple of years has not been on anybody's radar. And, you know, they're building that culture. They're riding, he likes to call it riding for the brand. They're believing in each other. And we have so many coaches like that who are really building programs from the ground up and giving these kids something to believe in. And also, too, they're investing in these kids to not just excel on the football field and excel in life. Yesterday, I was talking to Matt Landers from Roosevelt, and he goes, my biggest joy is being able to see one of my kids 10 years down the road come back and tell me everything that he's doing in his life, being a good brother, a good husband, a good father. That to me is what makes coaching so rewarding. And just hearing him say that, that's just kind of a theme through all of our coaches. And I think that's one of the most important storylines when I think about the South Plains.
Absolutely. Many cool storylines to see, or I guess to talk about down there in the South Plains region. But let's transition over to some of those teams to watch. Now, we talked about it earlier. A lot of small school teams that are doing really well this season. Of course, Happy being ranked in one of those teams. Mm-hmm. Do you think any of those teams, I guess, in the 6-man ranks or even in the higher classifications have a chance of making a deep run in the playoffs this year?
Oh, 100%. I mean, when you speak about Happy, I mean, they have some unfinished business, you know, basically on what they did last year, you know, and they have most of their starters back and they have talent across the board. And up next, they're going to face a very good Kingdom Prep team. You know, first-year head coach Peter Grithick, he actually went to Kingdom Prep, so he has a lot of tradition and he's building that culture there. So, you mean, Happy, I think it's their year to win. Like, why not? Why not go all the way? And same thing with Whit Herald, too. I mean, they're in the ranks, too. They were picked to win the division, and they're so athletic as heck. I really think, like, they are so just like I said, six-man football. Like, they score a lot of points and they put a lot of points on the board, but they have really athletic kids. So it also could be their year too. But when you think about the bigger classifications, a couple teams came to mind. Why not the Shallow-Wire Mustangs?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's in their second year under head coach Rodney Vincent, they had a really good non-district schedule, and the results from them, they were some battles there, and they were going up against toe-to-toe some of the best teams in the state. And they have a very veteran group, and it's really awesome to see what Coach Vincent has done from his first year to his second year. Also, why not Muleshoe? I mean, they're 5-2 right now. Like, they are killing it too. Their quarterback is one of the best I've seen in my year and 3 months here. Like, he is hands down one of the best quarterbacks I've seen. So those are a couple of teams I would definitely keep my eye on. But also when you're thinking about small schools as well, Trinity Christian, they have some unfinished business too, trying to win that state title, and they have all the pieces there. I mean, led by Texas Tech commit Marcus Ramon Edwards, and he can do anything that you want him to do. He can play defense, but he also is really good offensively, a great target for them. And Coach Kevin Spiller, he is just a gem of a person too. So we have a lot of teams in the South Plains that have a lot of unfinished business that definitely can go far in the playoffs.
Let's transition over to players here. Obviously, a ton of those teams, like you said, some of them maybe a little underrated and have the opportunity to shock people, but they're only as good as their players are. Which players would you say that you're looking out for?
There's a laundry list of players here in the South Plains that I can think of. But, I mean, one of them, obviously, from his performance last week, junior quarterback Hudson Hutchinson for Friendship. Man, he is a junior, and it's awesome to see him take that leadership role in his first year being honor center in the state's top classification. Their game against Legacy, he was close to 470 yards, 6 touchdowns, ran in for a touchdown on himself. He broke the single game school record for passing touchdowns. And he's just someone that you definitely got to keep your eye on, especially when he develops into that senior. So I definitely think Coach Jay Norcutt is really excited about him next year. And I think one thing that's really cool about the South Plains is we have a lot of great offensive linemen. Like, either if they're just, Isaiah Kemna is one of the first I think about over at Friendship. He is a leader on that line, and really his football IQ is just so insane that he has really good relationships with the quarterback, and he can get the offensive line really together. And that's something that's been really cool to see. The Lubbock Cooper offensive line, I mean, I can hands down go through that entire line and say how great of athletes they are. The Abernathy offensive line as well. But I also think you need to keep an eye on Jaden Hibbler from Monterey. He is someone that's going to be making a statement. He is very athletic, and he just gets the game, and he just has so much talent too. And I feel like I could go on and on and on. Like, I think it was just hard for me just to settle down with one, but I'm going to give some kickers some love. Over at Lubbock Cooper, I think y'all saw the game-winning 50-yard kick from Cub Patton that Lubbock Cooper beat Coronado. He's only a sophomore. He hit a 47-yarder earlier on in the game, and last week he was in the later 40s, higher 40s, whatever. And he is just someone who has a leg. And also, Coach Darden did tell me with that kick, there was so much room. Yeah, it was from 50 yards, but he probably could have went for 65. Honestly, there was just so much room left. So I definitely think it's really cool how we have a really stud kicker, and he has so much potential, and he's only a sophomore here in the South Plains.
No doubt about that, and we'll get to some of those players later on in our episode, but you pretty much summed it up right for us. There is a lot of great talent, of course, in the South Plains region. But finally, before we let you out of here, if we're in Lubbock, if we're anywhere in the South Plains region, where do you suggest that we stop and have to eat dinner or lunch if we're going out there to cover a game?
Oh, there's so many good food places. Number one, I'm going to say Evie Mae's barbecue, hands down one of the best barbecue in the state of Texas. I believe it's in the top 10 in the state of Texas. So definitely have to hit up there. But if you want a more, I feel like I'm maybe a food guy when I say this, but I should be on the Food Network when I'm this is a cool vibey place, just really good vibes, music, outdoor patio stuff. It's called the Funky Door. Their
nice.
Fondue is hands down awesome, and you can get so many different things with it, and they have a variety of stuff. They're really good too. And I was also thinking about, Mexican's really big here. So any of the big Mexican foods here, like restaurants here, are awesome. But if you want coffee, you need to go to this little food truck. It's called Caffeination Station. And
that's
really,
fantastic.
really awesome.
I love that.
Yes. It is run by Texas Tech students. They graduated about a year ago, and I just love local businesses. And we have so many local restaurants here and all these food trucks. Texas Mac Shack, too. If you want like loaded, out of this world insane artisan macaroni and cheese, it's called Texas Mac Shack.
Oh God, I'm hungry.
And I know. I'm actually hungry myself just talking about it. I got a pulled pork macaroni and cheese, and they also have a brisket macaroni and cheese. So that's a place you definitely need to check out.
Okay, so when are we heading out to Lubbock?
Right now.
Right now, yeah,
We're
we'll
cutting the
see
show
you there.
early, and we're getting out there. Man,
gosh,
and my
yeah.
ears perked up too when I heard coffee. I'm a big coffee guru, so that
Yes.
sounds really good. Well, she's Miss Arielle Schafer down there in Lubbock, or I guess you could say over there in Lubbock at KLBK. She is the sports director, that news station. Arielle, thanks so much for joining us today, and good luck the rest of the season. Hopefully we can make it out there sometime soon.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
There she goes, Arielle Schafer out there in Lubbock.
Ooh, my stomach is
can-
growling.
Oh, I know. I know. No, literally, she said coffee, and I was like, man, like she got me. Like, that's my weakness right there.
It
but-
wasn't like the mac and cheese with brisket. in
No,
it
okay,
got you?
that too. I'm probably gonna get some hate for saying this, but I'm not like big on brisket. Like I never have been. I do
Okay.
like good brisket, but I've just never been good, like really big on brisket.
Okay.
So the thing that caught my ears was the coffee, because I'm a coffee guru. So, anyways, you can follow Arielle on Twitter at Arielle. It's ARIELLE_Schafer, SCHAFER for all of your South Plains sports news and needs and wants.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.